Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the night where we absolutely get the nationwide launch of both full self-driving Smart Summon and the nationwide Robotaxi network. You're excited. I'm excited. We're all excited for the things we all agree are definitely coming. Because if these things aren't coming, then what's Elon been up to? You know what? On that note, one, it's unlikely this event starts in 5 minutes when it's supposed to. So let's take a few minutes before we get any further into this and remind ourselves of what robotaxis were back in 2019. I took some time earlier today and pulled out some of my favorite moments from the 2019 Robotaxi event. Listen for the times he says current and listen for the general timeline. You can watch my full video about it if you want later. It's linked in the description. But right now, we've got 3 minutes. Let's take those 3 minutes to remind ourselves what was possible half a decade ago in 2019.
Feel very confident about being feature complete with self-driving. And we expect to have the first operating robotaxis next year with no one in them next year. So any customer will be able to add or remove their car to the Tesla network. So we expect this to operate it's sort of like a combination of maybe the Uber and Airbnb model. So if you own the car, you can add or subtract it to the Tesla network, and Tesla would take 25 or 30% of the revenue. And then in places where there aren't enough people sharing their cars, we would just have dedicated Tesla vehicles. So when you use the car, we'll show you our ride-sharing app. So you'll be able to summon the car from the parking lot, get in, and go for a drive. So the current cost of Model 3 Robotaxi is
Current.
less than $38,000. We expect that number to improve over time. And we're designing the cars. The cars currently being built are all designed for 1 million miles of operation. So the drive units are designed and tested and validated for 1 million miles of operation. The current battery pack is about maybe 300 to 500,000 miles. The new battery pack that probably go into production next year is designed explicitly for 1 million miles of operation. And at some point, you won't need steering wheels or pedals, and we'll just delete those. So as these things become less and less important, we'll just delete parts. They won't be there.
Get rid of them.
If you say like probably 2 years from now, we make a car that has no steering wheels or pedals. And if we need to accelerate that time, we can always just delete parts. Easy. Yeah, probably.
Get rid of them.
Say long term, 3 years. Robotaxi with eliminated parts. Maybe it ends up being $25,000 or less. If you say what would be the probable gross profit from a single robotaxi, we think probably something on the order of $30,000 per year. So in nominal dollars, that would be, a little over $300,000 over the course of 11 years. It might be higher. I think these consumptions are actually relatively conservative, and this assumes that 50% of the miles driven are not useful. So this is only at 50% utility. By the middle of next year, we'll have over 1 million Tesla cars on the road with full self-driving hardware, feature complete. At a reliability level that we would consider. You say what is net value of it? Probably over a couple hundred thousand.
Anyways, that's just to remind ourselves of what we're going to get today. A $25,000 car without a steering wheel or pedals that'll make you over $300,000 in profits over its 1 million. Mile lifespan conservatively. We can make it cheaper than that if we delete other parts, windows, doors, floor panels, actual wheels. You get the general idea. Anyway, this live stream is definitely going to start on time, as all Tesla events do. everyone who's a huge Tesla fanatic like me knows Tesla's attention to detail extends, of course, to events like this, which never start half an hour behind schedule. So what do we think, folks? Are we getting what he promised in 2019? What was current at that point? Half a decade later, can he live up to what was already possible then? I hope so. Otherwise, we may have to raise concerns about his honesty. These events never start on time. So the idea in 2019 is that the Robotaxi network would be dominated by individuals putting their cars into the fleet, but that in places where not enough people were willing to put cars into the fleet, then Tesla would operate their own cars. That was the plan. When asked if it was going to be as profitable as it was supposed to be, why they wouldn't operate their own fleets, there weren't great answers to that kind of question. Elon kind of seemed to get overwhelmed when people started asking that kind of question, if we're being frank about how it played out. So there's a lot of parts of the Robotaxi promise that, just don't make sense. Like the money. I talked about the money a lot in my Robotaxi Lies video. $30,000 a year in profit. That's the number we're looking for tonight. That we're definitely going to see. Because it's a very real number. I mean, if that number is not real, then imagine what that would say about other numbers. And are we really willing to entertain the idea that Elon has lied about numbers besides this one? Yeah, it is supposed to be. So the rumor is we're going to see a 2-door, 2-seater Robotaxi that Tesla intends to be operating, probably in a geofenced area, which Elon used to make fun of, but hey, times change. Who can live up to what they said they were already doing in 2019, Not Elon. Listen, if we start asking too many questions, this whole thing's gonna fall to pieces, you guys. I understand we want to understand things like, how is this going to work? How does that make sense? Why does Elon keep lying about this? And the answer to that is money, at least to the lying question. The rest, we'll have to wait and see for this very timely event to get to. Okay, while we wait for this, let's do some self-promo. We're gonna watch one of my Robotaxi videos because why not? Tesla for every 8 people. Oh, that's just how I talk. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my personal channel, where we always remember that the rules are made up and that the rich and powerful are to blame. Today, we are once again talking about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has been promising that full self-driving is right around the corner for years now, and at some point in the future, we may go over every single time he's made those claims. But today I really want to focus in on the more specific financial claims which were made when Elon Musk and Tesla announced the Robotaxi network in April 2019. For those who don't remember, the Robotaxi network was going to be a network of self-driving Teslas that would make you money while you sleep and that you would be able to hire through an app, like an Uber or a Lyft or anything like that. This was going to launch in 2020 and would fundamentally revolutionize auto ownership, rideshare, autonomy,
Wait, no, it didn't.
everything. Before we really get into those financial claims though, we're going to very quickly talk about Elon Musk's previous claims about full self-driving and how they led up to this Robotaxi network. On January 6, 2016, Elon Musk tweeted, "In about 2 years, someone should work anywhere connected by land and not blocked by orders, e.g. you're in LA and the car is in New York. This would mean full self-driving." Okay. The super timely event still hasn't
Would have been released half a decade ago at the beginning of 2018.
A few months after that, on July 20th, 2016, Tesla released Master Plan Part 2, which explained the current plan for Tesla. There's a few interesting claims made, and let's review them. One was, as the technology matures, all Tesla vehicles will have the hardware necessary to be fully self-driving with fail operational capability, meaning that any given system in the car could break and your car will still drive itself safely.
Any system.
It is important to emphasize that refinement and validation of the software will take much longer than putting
That
in place the
includes
cameras, radar, sonar,
the
and
standby
computer
wiring
hardware.
system in a Cybertruck.
In October,
It'll keep
just a couple
driving
months
itself
later,
even if that
Tesla
breaks.
would announce that they had reached the point
Elon said so.
that all vehicles now being sold had the requisite technology for full self-driving. In July of 2021, several years later, Tesla would announce that actually that was not true. Full self-driving would require hardware 3.0, whereas the vehicles
4.0
released
now.
previously only had hardware 2.0. Reports now claim that Tesla is working on hardware 4.0, which will not be able to be retrofit into previous vehicles. Don't worry though, because Elon said
Hardware 3 will not be as good as hardware 4, but I'm confident that hardware 3 will still far exceed the safety of the average human. So what we're aiming for is like, well, how do we get ultimately to, let's say for argument's sake, if hardware 3 can be, say, 200 or 300% safer than
like
human,
dance music.
hardware 4 might be,
I can turn it down.
500 or 600%.
I need to hear
It'll be
when
hardware
they
5
actually
beyond
start
that.
the stream. Theodore.
But what really matters is
No partial autonomy now, rather than waiting until some point in the
Real is a
future. The
slippery
most important
concept,
reason
Kyle.
is that when used correctly, it is already significantly safer than a person driving by themselves, and it would therefore be morally reprehensible to delay release simply for fear of bad press or some mercantile calculation of legal liability.
Hear that?
It continues, according to the recently released 2015 NHTSA report, automotive fatalities increased by 8%
to 1 death every 89 million miles. Autopilot miles will soon exceed twice that number, and the system gets better every day. It would make no more sense to disable Tesla's autopilot, as some have called for, than it would to disable autopilot in aircrafts, after which our system is named. I highlight this because Tesla highlights the NHTSA report, and I think it's important to point out that currently the NHTSA is currently doing an investigation into claims made about Tesla autopilot because they're worried it was misrepresented, specifically that the safety of Tesla autopilot was misrepresented. I also want to add, Tesla autopilot has a habit of turning off in like the second or 2 seconds before a crash occurs. And then Tesla says autopilot was not active when the crash occurs. This is corporate bullshit, is what I think the technical term is. But that's how Tesla gets around a lot of the autopilot fatalities and casualties. Later on in the master plan, it says, when true self-driving is approved by regulators, it will mean that you will be able to summon your Tesla from pretty much anywhere. Once it picks you up, you will be able to sleep, read, or do anything else en route to your destination.
That's what
You will also
self-driving
be able
means.
to add your car to the Tesla shared fleet just by tapping a button on the Tesla phone app and have it generate income for you while you're at work or on vacation, significantly offsetting and at times potentially exceeding the monthly loan or lease cost. This dramatically lowers the true cost of ownership to the point where almost anyone could own a Tesla. Since most cars are only in use by their owner for 5% to 10% of the day, the fundamental economic utility of a true self-driving car is likely to be several times that of a car which is not. It continues, in cities where demand exceeds the supply.
Is my network the problem? There we go.
Supply of customer-owned cars, Tesla will operate its own fleet, ensuring you can always hail a ride from us no matter where you are. In several of those, you start to see the Robotaxi promise. Your car will be able to make money for you and that Tesla will operate its own fleet of self-driving cars. On October 19th, 2016, a few months after that new master plan was released, Elon Musk made the claim that by the end of 2017, a Tesla would be able to drive from LA to New York without human intervention, accelerating by a couple of months his earlier beginning of 2018 timeline. One day later, on October 20th, 2016, Tesla would post their infamous Paint It Black video entitled Tesla Self-Driving Demonstration that purported to demonstrate full self-driving on Teslas. It begins with the text, "The person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. He is not doing anything. The car is driving itself." Well, as it turns out, this video was deceptive. Allegedly, unlike
What
all the other
deceptive
Teslas, it had
things are they
3D
going
maps
to do
built in to
tonight?
pre-program the route, including where to stop. And when they were preparing for this demonstration, the car crashed into a fence. This is based on the testimony of the former director of Autopilot, and that testimony includes that this was done at the direct request of Elon Musk.
Not Elon.
Elon has also specifically maintained that vision alone without these types of pre-built 3D maps would be sufficient for full self-driving, but in their demonstration video did not live up to that statement. This whole prologue was mostly to illustrate to you all that the claims made since the beginning of full self-driving have been regularly false, are being investigated by regulars, and really laid the groundwork for the most extraordinary set of claims, which happened in April 2019 at Autonomy Day when Elon Musk announced the Tesla Robotaxi network.
So any customer will be able to add or remove their car to the Tesla network. So we expect this to operate, it's sort of like a combination of maybe the Uber and Airbnb model. So if you own the car, you can add or subtract it to the Tesla network, and Tesla would take 25 or 30% of the revenue. And then in places where there aren't enough people sharing their cars, we would just have dedicated Tesla vehicles. So when you use the car, we'll show you our ride-sharing app. So you'll be able to summon the car from the parking lot, get in, and go for a drive.
which they were confident would launch in 2020.
I feel very confident predicting autonomous robotaxis for Tesla next year.
And that by 2022, Tesla would be selling cars without pedals or steering wheels.
And at some point, you won't need steering wheels or pedals, and we'll just delete those. So as these things become less and less important, we'll just delete parts. Just they won't
By
be there.
2022, get them out of
They say
there.
like probably 2 years from now, we make a car that has no steering wheels or pedals. And if we need to accelerate that time, we can always just delete parts. Easy.
For any Elon
Fuck those
fans who
parts.
accidentally wandered in here, it's currently 2023, and we do not have robotaxis or Teslas being sold without pedals or steering
Until
wheels.
tonight.
Well, I guess some of them don't have steering wheels and instead have really challenging and problematic yokes, but I don't think that's what was meant here. Elon specifically said that Tesla will have over 1 million robotaxis on the road next year, meaning 2020.
By the middle of next year, we'll have over 1 million Tesla cars on the road with full self-driving hardware, feature complete, at a reliability level that we would consider that no one needs to pay attention. Meaning you could go to sleep from our standpoint, if you fast forward a year, just a little, maybe a year and 3 months, but next year for sure,
Because they hate me.
we will have over 1
That's why
million
it's at this
robotaxis
time.
on the road.
I was talking to my
And
wife
also
today,
promised
and
that
I'm like,
these would
who
be
wants to go to a
robotaxis
Tesla
with no
event
one in them, no
at 7
safety
p.m.
driver,
Pacific?
nothing, full self-driving. During this period, Elon also made a variety
And
of
my wife
other
said,
absurd
"Bennett,
statements,
apparently
including
you wanna
if you
go to
buy a
that
car
event."
that does
And I
not
said,
have the
"That
hardware for
doesn't
full
count,
self-driving,
it's for
it's like
content,"
buying a
she
horse.
said.
Really
I think
fundamental
it
message
counts.
that consumers should be taking today is that it's financially
does count. I
insane
think she's right.
to buy anything other than a Tesla.
Financially insane.
It'll be like owning a horse in 3 years.
Like
I mean,
owning a
fine if
horse
you own
by
a horse, but you
2022.
should go into it with that expectation. If you buy a car
By
that
by
does not have the hardware
2032,
necessary
the only
for
way
full
to get a
self-driving,
horse will be to be
it's like buying a
sexually
horse.
harassed by a
This
billionaire.
comment about horses aged particularly bad, considering it's been reported that Elon used horses to attempt to buy off survivors of his sexual harassment. Let's focus in on the financial claims, though, that were made during the course of Tesla Autonomy Day in 2019, because wow, they are a doozy. Consider this slide, one I think is very important because on it, Elon and Tesla say, and remember, this is in 2019, the current price for a Model 3 Robotaxi is $38,000.
So the current cost of a Model 3 Robotaxi is less than $38,000. We expect that number to improve over time.
I want to make sure we all hear clearly that he said current price for a Robotaxi, which is incredible because 4 years after this, not a single person has been able to buy a Robotaxi for that price. How is it current then, and yet no one's been able to do it? I don't understand how that works linguistically, you know?
Still do.
These slides also start by establishing a longevity value for the car, an efficiency value, namely that the car should last for 1 million miles and the motor should get 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour.
And we're designing the
we
cars.
all agree
that the cars currently
Teslas
being
do
built are all
actually
designed
last
for
a
a
million
million miles of
miles, right?
operation. So the drive units are designed and tested and validated for a million miles of operation.
And Elon does try to cover himself a little bit here by saying that their current battery pack is only good for about 350,000 miles, but the one going into production next year, which was 2020, remember, would have a 1 million mile longevity.
The current battery pack is about maybe 300 to 500,000 miles. The new battery pack that probably go into production next year is designed explicitly for 1 million miles of operation. The entire vehicle, battery pack inclusive, is designed to operate for 1 million miles with minimal maintenance.
Elon also let us know that within 3 years, which would be 2022, the price to purchase a Robotaxi capable car would have fallen to $25,000. And
Yeah,
it
probably,
did.
Say long term, 3 years, robotaxis with eliminated parts, maybe it ends up being $25,000 or less.
Currently in 2023, the cheapest vehicle Tesla has in inventory are Model 3s that run about $39,000, not including the full self-driving package. This is 156% of the $25,000 that Elon promised. Perhaps even more striking, though, than the promises about the cost of entry, though, were the promises about how filthy rich that the Robotaxi network would make you. Elon made the claim in 2019 that the current cost to run a Robotaxi was under 18 cents per mile.
The cost to run a Robotaxi, we think less than 18 cents a mile.
Including
and dropping.
all necessary overhead. That's an
This is
important
this
line
would
that
be current.
commenters on this video
current
don't
cost.
read very often.
Future costs will be lower.
Including all overhead. Again, it's incredible to me that they were able to calculate a current cost when there were none currently operating, but I lack Elon's vision and have a vastly different hold on reality than he does. We also start to get other numbers from Elon, including that they assume the Robotaxi is empty for half of its miles, and they expect that it'll be able to make 65 cents of profit per occupied mile, do about 90,000 miles per year, and make $30,000 in profit per year.
You say, what would be the probable gross profit from a single Robotaxi? We think probably something on the order of $30,000 per year.
Something on the order
Lasting for 11 years. This is especially incredible because it means by now you should be able to buy a $25,000 Robotaxi and pay it off using the proceeds of running a Robotaxi for a single year. Then you have 10 years of nice and easy profit, making your $25,000 investment net you about $300,000 over its lifetime.
So in nominal dollars, that would be, a little over $300,000 over the course of 11 years. It might be higher. I think these consumptions are actually relatively conservative.
But this led me to wonder what would happen if instead of just sitting on those profits, you reinvested them into running more Robotaxis.
But similar to Airbnb, though, in that I have this home, my car, and now I can just rent them out. So I can make an extra income from owning multiple cars and just renting them out. Like I have a Model 3. I aspire to get this Roadster here next when you build it, and I'm going to just rent my Model 3 out. Why would I give it back to you?
Building it, Elon? Where are those roadsters?
I guess you could operate a rental car fleet, but I think this is very unwieldy. Yeah.
I don't know. It seems easy.
Okay. Try it.
Some of you may not know this, but in a past life, I was a data scientist. Now I'm a writer and a podcaster, and I make videos on YouTube, and so don't deal with numbers or coding that much anymore. But I thought it would be fun to do just a little bit of math to try to figure out just how rich the Robotaxi network could make you. The code for this is linked in the description. I'm not a great coder, but this should be functional and will let you play with some of my assumptions. Let's start with a more realistic scenario, where we assume that the cost per Tesla is $39,000. For our simulation, we will need to set a few assumptions to make this work. We start by assuming that for the first Robotaxi, you had to finance the entire thing, and so your starting cash is negative $39,000. We set the price for each new Robotaxi you obtain at that same $39,000, and then we borrow many of Tesla's assumptions. Each Robotaxi will operate for 1 million miles before being taken out of service, doing 7,500 miles per month. It makes 65 cents a profit per occupied mile, and half the miles will be occupied. We assume that you're getting the payouts for the Robotaxi network monthly, though if they're more often, you actually end up making slightly more because you're able to accelerate the compounding. We further assume that whenever we have enough cash on hand to purchase a new Robotaxi, we do, and it gets deployed the very next month. We run this simulation for a total of 20 years, which will be long enough that we actually see some of the cars fall out of service and no longer be usable. So how profitable do these 2 decades end up being for you? Well, it starts out pretty slow, because you need to pay back the initial debt. At the end of the first year, 12 months in, you still have almost $10,000 in debt. You are still operating your single Robotaxi, and you have made about $29,000 so far. By the end of the second year, you are no longer in debt, you have $19,500 cash on hand, and you still are just operating your single Robotaxi. In month 32, you're finally able to buy your second Robotaxi, and this is where things start to accelerate. At the end of year 3, you're operating 2 Robotaxis and have earned a total of $97,500. Over the next few years, things really accelerate. At the end of year 4, you've now doubled the size of your fleet to 4 taxis, and you have made a total of $180,000. Year 5, you have more than doubled your fleet again, 9 total Robotaxis, total of $353,000. Year 6, you have doubled your fleet again, 18 total Robotaxis, and now have $714,000. Year 7, 37 total Robotaxis. You're buying more than one new car per month, and you have now made over $1 million, with your total being $1.4 million. Year 8, your fleet is now 76 Robotaxis. You've earned a total of $3 million. Year 9, 158 Robotaxis, and you've earned a total of $6 million. Year 10, the fleet is 327 Robotaxis. You've earned a total of $12.7 million, and every single one of the cars you have purchased is still in service because they are good, according to Elon Musk, for 1 million miles. Year 11 is where we finally see your original Robotaxi end its loyal service. Your fleet is 678 Robotaxis, and you have made over $26 million. Year 12, your fleet is 1,401 Robotaxis, and you have earned a total of $54.7 million. Year 13, 2,900 Robotaxis. You're buying well over 100 Teslas each month, and you have earned a total of $113 million. Year 14, your fleet is now over 6,000 Teslas, and you have made $234 million. Year 15, your fleet is now over 12,000 Teslas, and you have made a total of $484 million. Year 16, your fleet is now over 25,000 Teslas. You are purchasing more than 1,000 Teslas each month, and you have made a total of over $1 billion. Year 17, your fleet is now over 53,000 cars, and you have made a total of over $2 billion.
I do think
Year
he'll be
18,
charged. I
your
think
fleet
he'll
is now
fly too close to the sun.
110,000 cars, and you have made a total of $4.2 billion. Year 19, your fleet is still 227,000 cars, and you have made a total of $8.8 billion. Year 20, where we end this simulation, you have a total active fleet of 471,000 cars. Over the last year, you have purchased 250,000 Teslas, currently about half of their total annual production quantity, and you have earned a total of $18 billion, nearly half of what Elon Musk wasted on Twitter, all from purchasing a single Robotaxi and reinvesting the profits. This is fucking absurd. It implies an annual interest rate, compounded monthly, of over 60%. Bernie Madoff's Ponzi promised 10%. Anchor in the Terra Ponzi scheme promised 18%. I honestly am shocked that federal agents did not immediately walk out on stage with handcuffs to take Musk's in. Like, this is unworkable. And Elon described these numbers as conservative.
I think these consumptions are actually relatively conservative.
And I'm actually being extra conservative because I didn't use the price that Elon specified. If we go down to $25,000 each like Elon said they should cost, then things get even crazier. If we change our assumptions to that Teslas cost $25,000 each like Elon said they would, then your fleet hits the same point that the 39K case did in 13 years. And if we keep going all the way to the 20-year point, you end up with 1.1 billion Teslas. You have one Tesla for every 8 people on Earth. While writing this script at the end of May, I checked Clean Technica, and they said there have been a total of about 4 million Teslas delivered. But you personally have 1.1 billion. Based on this model, after 20 years, you would have approximately 250 times more Teslas than have ever been sold as of today. Oh, and you also would have made a total of $27.6 trillion, or approximately the entire US GDP for a year. This one has an implied annual interest rate of over 100%. It is so absurd. And the really frustrating part for me is that we are being conservative. We are assuming you are only able to get a loan for a single car, but that isn't necessarily true. There's plenty of people who could very conceivably be able to get a loan to buy multiple cars. So let's run that model quick. Let's imagine you could get a small $1 million loan from your dad to start your business.
My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
Well, then for the $25,000 case, you end up with a total of 75 billion Teslas in your fleet.
75
10
billion
for every person on Earth, and you will have earned a total of $1.8 quadrillion, which is a lot of money. Even for my more conservative $39,000 case, you still end up with 19 million Teslas, which is, again, 5 times the total number of Teslas ever sold, and you will have earned $754 billion. Not bad for a nice small loan. But there's a way to make it even clearer how absurd these numbers are, though. Recently, Elon Musk bought Twitter in a deal worth about $44 billion. What if instead of a social network that he is currently destroying, he instead spent just 1% of that amount investing into the Robotaxi network? Well, in the conservative $39,000 case, and assuming you have to pay back all those cars you start off with, you end up with a mere 8.9 billion Teslas, one for everyone on Earth with a few extra, and earn a paltry $346 trillion. In the Muskian $25,000 case, then you end up with a much more impressive 33 trillion Teslas, 4,000 per person on Earth. You will have earned $844 quadrillion, which means you now own the Earth, and the Moon, and the Sun, and Elon Musk. Congratulations, you won the game. Clearly, these numbers are stupid, so why am I belaboring them? Because it takes very little effort to see how stupid these are, which means Tesla and Elon knew how stupid they were when they said them at Autonomy Day. Furthermore, I included the Twitter example because it emphasizes one thing. If the numbers were real, and robotaxis were real, then Tesla would not sell Teslas. They would use every single Tesla they can create as part of this absurdly profitable network. The fact that Tesla continued to sell Teslas when they claimed they were mere months away from launching the Robotaxi network was proof that the Robotaxi network was not really coming. What is really crazy to me is that when I changed nearly all the assumptions in this model to try to make it more reasonable, the numbers we get are still unreasonable. Let's go back to our assumptions and talk about how we can tweak these to make this make a little bit more sense. Let's assume instead of 1 million miles, which no matter how much Elon pretends is realistic,
and we expect that we're literally designing we're designing the cars the same way that commercial semi-trucks are designed. Commercial semi-trucks are all designed for a 1,000,000-mile life, and we're designing the cars for a 1,000,000-mile life as well.
is just not. Let's say instead that each Tesla lasts for 350,000 miles. This is far closer to the actual possible lifespan for their batteries. Now let's be clear, this is a huge change to the numbers Musk gave. We're suggesting each car will actually get 65% less lifespan than Elon thought was conservative. Less than half. What else looks wrong in the mile? Well, let's assume the profit per mile starts where they say. It's not going to be static. As more and more robotaxis are deployed, we're going to assume that the profit per mile decreases to represent the market getting more competitive. To model this, I added two numbers into the model. One is a coefficient that the profit per mile is multiplied by each year. So, if the profit starts at 65 cents per mile and the coefficient is 0.95, each year it would be multiplied by 0.95 to reduce the profit per mile. This still didn't seem exactly right to me, because honestly I think we would expect the proportional amount the profit decreases to decrease slightly per year. So I added another value, which that coefficient is raised to. So if the coefficient is 0.95, we can raise it to this other value, which is currently also set to 0.95, and exponentially decay the decaying profit per mile. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then playing around with the code might help, or just know that I've made it so that every year profits go down. You can't make as much as you did the year before.
Minutes ago.
Furthermore, there's inflation in our world. Teslas have not kept getting less expensive as Elon thought, so we're going to add in an inflation coefficient, in this case 0.03. Each year we model that the cost of a Tesla will increase by 3%. We're getting closer to a final model now, but I did want to add a little bit of modeling surrounding how cost increases your business scales. So I made it so every order of magnitude your fleet increases, 10, 100, 1,000, etc., the price per Tesla increases by 3% to help simulate staffing and other complexities that come as it scales. So I basically gutted the numbers Elon described as conservative, and you want to know the truth? The results are still fucking ridiculous. If you start with the $39,000 Tesla case, you still end up with a fleet of 31 Teslas, which doesn't sound like very much after what we've seen, but still 30 more than what you started with, and you earn a total of $6 million. In the $25,000 case, you end up with 7,700 Teslas and earn a total of $569 million. These numbers are far smaller, I know, but remember, we cut the longevity by 65%, more than half. We cut the profit every single year, raised the price for cars every single year, and this is despite Elon saying his numbers were conservative. The $39,000 case I just gave still has an annual implied interest rate of 25% per year, more than Anchor in the Terra Ponzi and more than double what Madoff promised in his Ponzi scheme. The $25,000 case has an implied interest rate of 50%, which is more than double what Anchor paid in the Terra Ponzi and about 5 times what Madoff paid in his Ponzi. Even when you gut Elon's supposedly conservative numbers, they still end up absurd. And these become even more absurd when we consider the loan case and the Twitter case we discussed before. Very quickly, since we've already been in this section of the video for too long, with $1 million loan, the $39,000 case results in you having 970 Teslas and a total earned of $227 million
That's a lot of money.
with an implied rate of return of 27%. The $25,000 case, 281,000 Teslas, total earned of $23 billion with an implied rate of return of 51%. With 1% of the purchase price of Twitter in the $39,000 case, 209,000 Teslas, total earned of $61 billion with an implied rate of return of 24% per year. In the $25,000 case, 49.5 million Teslas in your fleet. Remember, they've currently only sold 4 million. Total earn of $4.7 trillion. Implied rate of return, 47% per year. These numbers are so dumb. These numbers are bad. In my day job doing cryptocurrency criticism, I would be desperately warning about how these rates are not possible and are not sustainable. But the richest man in the world had no fear saying these on stage. He had no problem promising things they absolutely could not deliver. Why though? Autonomy Day, which we've been talking about, happened in April 2019. Just over a week later, Tesla raised over $2 billion between sales of common stock and convertible notes. Leading up to this raise, Tesla needed to show they had opportunities for high-margin products which would justify their massive valuation, and it just so happens that they presented a model with absolutely broken margins. Listen, I'm not saying Elon Musk committed securities fraud by making these promises before raising this money, especially since as early as 2012, Elon said that Tesla would never need to raise money again. What I am saying is that I think Elon Musk should be investigated for securities fraud related to these promises that he made shortly before Tesla did this fundraise. Elon Musk sold Teslas as an investment.
You say what is net present value of a Robotaxi? Probably on the order of a couple $100,000.
Making financial promises more extravagant than most Ponzi schemes and claimed they were conservative. Years later, full self-driving is nowhere to be seen. The cost of an entry-level Tesla has gone up instead of down. There are 0 robotaxis on the road, but the idea is forgotten, discarded, and that in itself proves what they were promising was not possible. Because if Elon could make as much as his model suggested, he would be doing it. Now, I want to emphasize that the problems with Elon go far beyond his inability to accurately assess full self-driving. His promoted conspiracy theories, recommended people vote for insurrectionists, showed a deep lack of understanding about cryptocurrency, destroyed one of my favorite websites, and has been credibly accused by multiple people of sexual harassment. And Tesla has had repeated accusations of maintaining a racist workplace. Elon is a bad person, but he also blatantly lied about the financial returns from owning a Tesla, and so far has experienced no consequences for those blatant lies. Thank you for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to check out one.
Oh my, we got through that entire video. We weren't supposed to get through that entire video, y'all. That was a 31-minute video. I really thought that was going to take up
That's right.
all the time. Tesla's never this tardy, I say with a complete lack of sincerity. So I guess we're gonna go to one of my other Robotaxi
Recently,
videos.
ARK Invest, a massive investment
Oh, I hope
advisory
we can
firm,
press this.
released a report where they predict Tesla will have a market cap of $8 trillion in 5 years. Is this the investment opportunity of a lifetime? That's certainly a huge number, considering the current market cap is just over 500 billion. So what's going to drive this many-fold increase in value? Robotaxis. Longtime fans of the channel know what a big fan of Robotaxis I am, especially when they are surrounded by bad math, and this report has some stunningly bad math. Look at these graphs, for example. That's right, they expect 88%, 9/10 of Tesla's enterprise value to come from the definitely real Robotaxis. You know, the ones that launched with 1 million Robotaxis in 2020. When does ARK think these Robotaxis will launch? 2025. So expect another video in 2026 where I clown on that prediction. Now, this entire poorly written report made me deeply upset, but when I saw this graph, which ARK believes explains why Tesla has a significant advantage over its competitors, I was filled with rage. Let's talk about this graph. First, the y-axis. It says the unit is in million miles, which means this graph shows Tesla's driving 1.4 billion miles per year, which is 1.4 quadrillion miles per year.
It's a lot of miles.
I'm assuming they mislabeled it, but otherwise, what the fuck? Even more egregious than that is the fact that this chart is lying about the number of autonomous miles Teslas drive. And we know this because Tesla tells regulators and customers that their system is not autonomous. To prove this, let's zoom in on California, where Tesla has a variety of offices and manufacturing facilities. In California, every autonomous mile needs to be reported to the DMV. The California DMV publishes this data so we can look and compare every single mile that different firms drive. Let's do something that ARK is apparently incapable of and review that data to see in this one example state which firm is driving the most autonomous miles per year. Cruise has a total of 583,624 miles. Waymo has a total of 3,669,962 miles. And Tesla has a total of, drumroll please, 0 miles. That's right, 0 miles. Not even one. Not a single corporate test. 0 total miles. It is incredibly frustrating to watch ARK describe a company that cannot drive 1 autonomous mile in their home state as having some completely made up annualized autonomous mile run rate. You're just making shit up. ARK, what the actual fuck are you doing? We can even further confirm this by reviewing Tesla's own website, where they confirm full self-driving features require active driver supervision and do not make the vehicle autonomous. Now, you may say that makes full self-driving a really stupid name, and I agree with you, but it also means 0 Teslas on the road have driven any autonomous miles. Not a single one is driving autonomously, and they are certainly not doing 1.4 quadrillion autonomous miles every year. I believe ARK is not just wrong, but so wrong that it fundamentally proves them incapable of running money. Now, perhaps Tesla will prove me wrong by launching the Robotaxis that were supposed to come out half a decade ago, but they won't.
They won't. What other Elon videos do I have? Oh. Nope, just fading into the next song. Oh, this video is all about my theory that we didn't get the Robotaxi event in August when it was scheduled. Or, sorry, that event was only ever scheduled for August because Elon Musk is a racist. And as you can tell from the like-dislike ratio, not everyone agrees with me. Driving would have been released. Hey. Oh man, I put music on this video, so we're gonna have
Today is August 8th. Well, it's the 6th, the day when I'm recording, but I'm releasing on the 8th. Several months ago, Elon Musk tweeted, Tesla Robotaxi unveil on 8/8. This was surprising for me to see because, as we've discussed on this channel before, Robotaxis were already unveiled. For a brief history of that timeline, on January 6, 2016, Elon Musk tweeted, "In about 2 years, someone should work anywhere connected by land and not blocked by borders, e.g., you're in LA and the car is in New York." This would mean full self-driving would have been released half a decade ago, more actually, at the beginning of 2018.
And it was.
On August 19th, 2016, a few months after that, Tesla released their new master plan. In this, Elon Musk said that by the end of 2017, a Tesla would be able to drive from LA to New York again without human intervention. One day later, on October 20th, 2016, Tesla would post their famous Paint It Black video entitled Tesla's Self-Driving Demonstration that purported to demonstrate full self-driving. It begins with the text, "The person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. He is not doing anything. The car is driving itself." However, surprising no one, that video was deceptive. Allegedly, according to the former director of Autopilot, 3D maps were built in, the route was pre-programmed, including where to stop, and it crashed into a fence at the beginning of the self-driving demo. All of this manipulation was allegedly done at the direct request of Elon Musk, who has specifically maintained that vision alone, no 3D maps, no LiDAR, vision alone would be enough for full self-driving. The most extraordinary set of claims happened in 2019 when Elon Musk unveiled the Tesla Robotaxi network, which they were confident would launch in 2020
And
with
it
at
did.
least 1 million robotaxis, and that by 2022, Tesla would be selling cars without pedals or steering wheels because they would not need them.
And they
And at some
don't.
point, you won't need steering
Yeet
wheels
those
or
parts.
pedals, and we'll just delete those. So as these things become less and less important,
Can you
we'll just
guys
delete
tell
parts.
from my videos,
They
I
won't
find the
be there.
no steering wheels and pedals thing to be
You
really
see, like
funny.
probably 2 years from now, we make a car that has no steering wheels or pedals. And if we need to accelerate that time, we can always just delete parts. Easy.
So to summarize why I'm confused by Elon announcing this, is we already supposedly have robotaxis. Through every car sold by Tesla since 2017, they did their first cross-country drive by 2017, and we had 1 million of them in 2019, 2020, 2024 obviously, and they make you literally impossible amounts of money. Billions or trillions of dollars, depending on how you do the math, and I did the math. So why are they unveiling something
the math.
which has already been unveiled?
This is the part of the
Well, they're
video
not.
people didn't like.
Today is 8/8, and years after the Robotaxi network was months away from launch, it does not exist. And Bloomberg reported that Elon was pushing the event till October. The reason that they had to delay this many trillion-dollar technology, this technology that has been ready since 2019, apparently because Elon requested what he thinks is an important design change
So
to the
look
front.
at the front.
Every
today,
single Tesla
if they end
sold
up showing
since
us anything
2016 is supposed to be capable of being a robotaxi, but Elon has to change the design? What the fuck? It's a nonsense excuse. What do you mean you need to change the front? Every car has a different front. This nonsense excuse just belies the fact that there will not be the launch of a usable nationwide robotaxi network in October, nor will the 2017
Stand by that.
promise coast-to-coast summon work. Best case, what we all get in October, is Elon announces a robotaxi that Tesla will operate in a small geo-fenced area.
We'll
But
see
frankly,
if this is right.
I seriously doubt Tesla can even do that by October, and I want to remind everyone that Elon has said doing that is the wrong way to do it. Unfortunately, now we have to discuss the other problem with Elon choosing today as the day to make this announcement. We've thoroughly established the Tesla robotaxis are once again delayed, and will inevitably be delayed again. We need to talk about the other problem here. Elon has increasingly embraced fascism, anti-Semitism, and the far right. Elon is donating massive amounts of money to Trump and has endorsed Trump despite previously claiming he would not be supporting any political candidates. In that context, it is important to highlight that 88 is an important number for neo-Nazis. H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, so 88 becomes HH, or Hail Hitler, among these Nazis. So Elon promised to unveil something that he has already unveiled on a very significant day for neo-Nazis, and the lack of an actual robotaxi makes it seem like this was more a signal to neo-Nazis than it was an actual Tesla announcement. Now, if Elon disagrees with what I'm saying right now and wants to disprove me, I think tomorrow Tesla should do a coast-to-coast full self-drive with zero human intervention. If they need to recharge the car, they can use the snake charger or the battery swaps, and I want to see that happen. Because if he still cannot do what he claimed would happen in 2017, 7 years ago, then it really seems to me, in my opinion, that the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, made up a Tesla announcement purely to signal that he was on the same side as the Nazis. Elon Musk cares about some
China connection, but you gotta remember this is a guy who defended the Robert E. Lee Charlottesville statue, and like has specifically endorsed explicitly anti-Semitic conspiracy theories in texts. Like, that feels important in the context. I'll admit there's a legitimate chance it could have just been him trying to pander to China. But, like, he's done some Nazi shit. Running out of Elon videos, aren't I? Like here.
Elon Musk cares about some statues more than he cares about other statues. It may seem strange to focus on what the richest man in the world thinks about some statues, but it reveals what he thinks about some people. For context, in October 2023, a statue of white supremacist slave owner and treasonous General Robert E. Lee was melted down. This was the same statue which had inflamed the very racist right-wing Unite the Right rally organizers in Charlottesville. In response to this statue being melted down, an account called GigaThad, with 2 A's in Thad, took to Twitter to claim, "Literally my ancestor. We carry the Lee name as a first/middle in my family, and while I don't need a directly insulting gesture to tell that my kind is hated and may seek our extinction, the implicit clues were strong enough. I appreciate this image making it absolutely clear." This was already a strange thing for GigaThad to say, because Lee's
statements are subject to risks and uncertainties. Actual results materially from those projected. More details can be found in the written materials.
We just got the disclaimer. I think we might be starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen, here, everywhere, online, around the world, outer space, I'm Franz. And on behalf of everybody at Tesla, welcome to We Robot. Just want to thank Warner Brothers for hosting us here. As you know, this is the birthplace of many epic films, many of them depicting a vision of the future. We're here tonight to experience that future that is closer than you think. And who better than Elon, right, to show us that future?
Yeah,
So
who
it looks
indeed?
like Elon's on his way. So let's welcome him out here.
They're gonna drive in whatever new ugly ass Robotaxi this is. They wouldn't. Are we supposed to believe that's an Optimus robot? The Robotaxi can't be a two-door, two-seater with butterfly wings, can it? Can it? Aren't we all impressed that it can drive around a movie set? You're impressed that this prototype can drive around a movie set, right? Kyle, those doors are the perfect for a taxi. That was so impressive. You guys, it drove. Did you see how it handled the traffic? Did you guys see how it handled that left turn across traffic?
Welcome. Welcome to the Wii Robot Party. So we have quite a show for you tonight. I think you're gonna like it. As you can see, I just arrived in the Robotaxi, the cybercab.
The cybercab?
And there's 20 more where that came from.
You too can ride around in an amusement park ride.
So they've been traveling. There's no people in them.
I
as
don't
you can
think it's
see. The car's just
pre-recorded,
going by
Melissa.
with no people. And we have 50 fully autonomous cars here tonight.
Do you have 1 million?
So you'll see Model Ys and the cybercab, all driverless. You'll be able to take a ride in the cybercab. There's no steering wheel or pedals.
Hey! No steering wheel or pedals. He did it. It's gotta be $25,000.
Well. We'll find out. So you see a lot of sci-fi movies where the future is dark.
The car
and
fits
dismal,
2
where,
people.
It's not a future you want to be in. So like I
Just
love
like a
Blade Runner,
taxi.
but, I don't know if we want that future. I think we want that duster he's wearing, but not.
Is that
the
grok
bleak
generated?
apocalypse. We want to have a fun, exciting future that if you could look in a crystal ball and see the future, you'd be like, yes, I wish I could be there now. That's what we want. So when we think about transport today, there's a lot of kind of pain that we take for granted that we think is normal. Like having to drive around LA in like 3 hours of traffic. Yeah, and people that live in LA, I mean, trying to get from Pasadena to, El Segundo during rush hour is like, you can fly to, another city faster than you can get to cross down LA. So, and you have to drive the whole way. Unless you're in a Tesla, of course. Tesla already does quite well at this supervised self-driving. So supervised full self-driving is actually working quite well.
Not a
Because
thing.
People in the crowd, you're using that, yeah? So we'll move from supervised full self-driving to unsupervised full self-driving, where the car, you could fall asleep and wake up at your destination. So, but there's also a challenge for a lot of people that cars cost too much. I mean, when you factor in everything that goes into a car, and the car insurance, and the car payments, and the storage of the car, it's very expensive. So with, and you said like how many hours a week are cars used? Your average passenger car is only used about 10 hours a week out of 168 hours. So the vast majority of the time, cars are just doing nothing. But if they're autonomous, they could be used, I don't know, 5 times more, maybe 10 times more. So you could actually, for the same car, would have 5 times as much value, maybe 10 times as much value. There's 168 hours in the week, and like I said, only 10 of them are used for driving. So, and then a bunch of those hours are looking for a parking spot, which is pretty annoying at times.
You know what'll fix that?
So we
Millions
want,
of cars
autonomy,
driving around.
You get your time back. This is a very big deal. So it's not just it'll save lives, like a lot of lives, and prevent injuries. I think we'll see autonomous cars become 10 times safer than a human.
He's previously said it already was.
Where there used to be an elevator operator in every elevator, but once in a while they get tired and they accidentally shear somebody in half. So now we have automated elevators. You just get in an elevator and you press a button, and you don't even think about it. And it just takes you to the floor. And if you did see an elevator operator with a big relay switch, you'd be like, that's weird. Now that's how cars will be. And it's not just the lives saved in injuries, but if you think about the cumulative time that people spend in a car and the time that they will get back, that they can now spend, well, I guess on their phones or watching a movie or doing work or whatever you want to do. You can think of the car in an autonomous world as being like just a little lounge. You're just sitting in a comfortable little lounge, and you can do whatever you want while you're in this comfortable little lounge. And when you get out, you will be at your destination. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. So in fact, I think the cost of autonomous transport will be so low that
this
you can think of it
event
like individualized mass
is in
transit.
California.
The average cost of a bus per mile for a
They
city,
can't do this on the
not
road
the ticket
because they
price is
haven't
not
registered
subsidized. The
any
average
of these
price
cars
is
as
about $1 a
like
mile.
autonomous vehicles
Whereas the cost
in
of,
California. So they have
cybercab,
to do it
we
on
think
like
probably over
a
time,
sound stage on a closed set.
operating cost is probably going to be around 20
That's kind of
cents.
funny. I'm not positive
And
that's true,
price,
but it
including
feels true.
taxes and everything else probably ends up being 30 or 40 cents a mile. So yes, and you will be able to buy one.
What are we gonna be able to buy?
Yes, exactly. We expect the cost to be below $30,000.
Oh, he's hitting all the marks.
And I think there'll be an interesting, business model where, like, let's say somebody is an, Uber or Lyft driver today, where they can actually sort of manage a fleet of cars, and like sort of manage, 10, 20 cars, and just sort of, take care of them like a shepherd tends their flock. You have your flock of cars, and you're the shepherd, and you take care of your flock of cars. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Remember, every
I think
Tesla
it's
sold
gonna
since
be a glorious
2016
future.
is
It's gonna be
supposed to be able to
special.
be a robotaxi.
So, yes, good, all excellent questions. We do expect actually to start fully autonomous, unsupervised FSD in Texas and California next year. And that's with the
Geofenced,
Model 3 and Model Y.
small
And
area.
then we expect to be in
I was
production
right.
with the cybercab, which is really highly optimized for autonomous transport.
I thought they all
probably-
were.
Well, I tend to be a little optimistic with timeframes. But in 2026. So, yeah. Before 2027, let me put it that way. And we'll make this vehicle in very high volume. And but well before that, you'll experience a robotic taxi via the Model 3 and Model Y program, and Model S and X too. But your 3 and Y will achieve unsupervised full self-driving with permission in wherever regulators essentially approve it in the U.S. and then to follow in outside the U.S. So, and it's Cybertruck too. Yes, of course. Sorry, I don't want to be. Yes. All our cars, basically, all cars that we make. So. Let's not get nuanced here. All right, next slide. So one of the reasons why the computer can be so much better than a person is that we have millions of cars that are training.
The extra long cocktail hour was not good for this crowd.
Very unusual situations that a person in their entire lifetime would not see. But
maybe Texas. I could see Texas giving him an area to fuck around with these cars.
Exactly. So, so with that amount of training data, it's obviously going to be much better than what a human could be, because you can't live a million lives. And it's also, it can see in all directions simultaneously, and it doesn't get tired or text or any of those things. So it will naturally be, like I said, 10, 20, 30 times safer than a human, just for all those reasons. And I want to emphasize that the solution that we have is AI and vision. So there's no expensive equipment needed. So
He's still going no LiDAR.
Model Y and S and X that we make today will be capable of full autonomy unsupervised. And that means that our cost of producing the vehicle.
Good question in 92.
Now we are going to actually overspec the computer for the cybercab. So our AI5 computer will be somewhat overspecced. And because I think there's actually also an opportunity, sort of like an Amazon Web Services, where if the car's driving for 50 hours a week, there's still over 100 hours left. And there's a potential there to have a massive amount of distributed inference compute, where if you've got, like, say, a fleet of 100 million vehicles and a kilowatt of efficient inference compute, you have 100 gigawatts of compute, which is really quite substantial. And if it's there, you might as well use it. So, yeah, so that I think will make sense. So, all right. So our
That
future
will make
is
sense.
here. As I said, we've got 50 Teslas driving autonomously. We're trying to give you a sense of what cities will be like in the future. And when you get in, you'll see, like, it's really quite a wild experience to just be in a car with no steering wheel, no pedals, no controls, and it feels great.
This feels like a tech demo from 2 decades
we've got
ago.
enough vehicles here, so everyone should be able to try it out and experience the set that we've built here. It's a very big set, so it's like really, we've used...
But it is a set, Elon.
20, 30 acres or something like that. It's really big. So it goes on, the ride's long. We set it up to feel like a ride, like a park ride. So it'll be cool.
Like an amusement park ride. What?
Something we're also doing is, and it's really high time we did this, is inductive charging.
Oh my.
The Robotaxi has no plug. It
They're
just,
bringing back
goes
the
over
snake
inductive
charger.
And charges. So yeah, it's kind of how it should be.
Can't believe they're making the snake charger work as a cleaning robot.
Thanks, guys. I love you too. So one of the things that is really interesting is how will this affect the cities that we live in? And when you drive around a city, or when the car drives you around a city, you'll see there's a lot of parking lots.
We need the Elon urban planning interlude to the cybercab announcement.
So what would happen if you have an autonomous world is that you can now turn parking lots into parks. And so we're taking the ing lot out of parking lot. Welcome. So there's a lot of opportunity to create green space in the cities that we live in.
Again, this is a thing he said he was going to be doing in 2016. It's a bus.
Quite fantastic.
It's a shuttle.
Also, what happens if you need a vehicle that is bigger than a Model Y? The Robovan. The Robovan is we're going to make this.
What did he just call it?
Now, can you imagine going down the streets and you see
it's
this
gonna
coming
look like
towards you?
that.
That'd be sick. So this can carry up to 20 people, and it can also transport goods. So you can configure it for goods transport within a city, or transport of up to 20 people at a time. So this is gonna, the Robovan is what's gonna solve for high density. So if you want to take a sports team somewhere, or you're looking to really get
for all those
travel down to,
bus use cases you have, but where you can't ride a bus.
The Robovan. Some people call it the Robovan, but so yeah. One of the things that we want to do, and we've seen this with the Cybertruck, is we want to change the look of the roads. The future should look like the future.
The future should look like what we thought the future would look like 60 years ago. That's what the future should look like, you guys.
So,
the future needs to look like what the future was going to look like 60 years ago, you guys, because that was the real future. Because that's how old I am. What?
So everything we've developed for our cars, the batteries, power electronics, the advanced motors, gearboxes, the software, the AI inference computer, it all actually applies to a humanoid robot. It's the same techniques. It's just a robot with
oh my fucking god,
with wheels.
Look we get to see Optimus walk on a flat surface. You guys, Optimus can walk on a flat surface again.
We started up with someone in a robot suit, sort of down, and then we've progressed dramatically year after
and
year.
Now we can walk on a flat surface. So and look at all these people nearby looking at them. Not any of them look nervous like they're about to trip.
Something that anyone could own. So
anyone.
You can have your own personal R2-D2 C-3PO.
This is my R2-D2.
And I think at scale, this would cost something like, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000. Probably less than a car.
Yeah, don't get in the way of the robots. Back up, you crowd.
It's a minute to get to the long term, but fundamentally at scale, the Optimus robot, you should be able to.
That was a weird cut.
For I think probably $20,000 to $30,000 long term. So and what can it do? It'll be able to do anything you want. So it can be a teacher, babysit your kids. It can walk your dog, mow your lawn, get the groceries.
No, it can't.
Be your friend, serve drinks.
No, it can't.
Whatever you can think of, it will do.
No, it won't.
And yeah, it's going to be awesome.
No, it won't.
I think this will be the biggest product ever of any kind.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that.
Because I think everyone of the 8 billion people of Earth I think everyone's going to want their Optimus buddy. And there's going to be maybe two. And then they'll be producing products and services. I predict, actually, provided we address risks of digital superintelligence, 80% probability of a good outcome. Look on the bright side. The cup is 80% full. The cost of products and services will decline dramatically, and basically anyone will be able to have any products and services they want. It will be an age of abundance.
What?
The likes of which people have almost no one has envisioned. It'll be something special. So,
He just says things.
one of the things we wanted to show tonight was that Optimus is not a canned video. It's not walled off. The Optimus robots will walk among you. Please be nice to the Optimus robots. So you'll be able to walk right up to them, and they'll serve drinks at the bar.
Be very careful about what you say they're going to be doing, Elon.
And you'll directly, I mean, that's just, it's a wild experience just to have humanoid robots, and they're there, you're just in front of you. So, yeah,
So
with that,
you can walk towards them. They can
Let's
serve
party.
drinks. You can walk towards them. They can serve drinks.
I love you guys too.
That's
If
what
you
we
look at that-
established.
The gazebo over there. Let's get the party started.
Oh no. You guys, the robots can do a pre-programmed dance routine, and look at how natural they look. If that's not a near human level, like intellect and ability to interact with the world, then I don't know. Moving feet would make the dance a lot more complicated. Is that it? Do we do one more thing? Or was the dance the one more thing? Or was the cyber bus one more thing? I just know we got to rip off Steve Jobs. So where's our one more thing? Yeah, I wonder if I'm going to have copyright issues because I didn't mute that song. We'll see. Oh, that's game. Asima, thank you all. So, Teslas can drive coast to coast with no interventions, or at the very least around a closed movie set. And also, there's a bus that's not a bus, and robots that serve drinks. And that's a two-seater cab, which I hear is the best kind of cab. Because who needs more than 2 seats in a cab? If you need more than 2 seats in a cab, you obviously really want a van. Why are you pretending you want a cab when you want a van? We all know you want a van. That event started an hour late and was over like that. People are getting in the cars. That was it. I guess that's it, you guys. Watch my Elon videos. The bus makes more sense than the cybercab. No way are they hitting under 30K with those butterfly wings on that cybercab, by the way. I just don't believe it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Elon... I don't think we're going to get the cybercab. I think the cybercab is a concept vehicle that is never going to exist. I think the Robotaxi network is never going to exist, except, as I've said before, maybe in small geo-fenced areas. And they're mostly operated by Tesla, if not entirely. So, fuck Elon. Elon is a shitty person. Robotaxis don't exist. And fuck Elon.